A boy named Sora lives on an island with a bunch of other kids. He has a crush on his girlfriend Kairi and has a friend named Rikku. Rikku is Sora's rival. They get in the shower and compete a lot. For example, by racing and competitive speedwalking. They often talked about getting off the island. One day, Sora goes into a cave, and there's a handsome guy in a hood talking to him, and there's a door behind them. The hooded man has this to say: "I've come to see the door to this world. This world has been connected, tied to the darkness, soon to be completely eclipsed. You do not yet know what lies beyond the door. There is so very much to learn. You understand so little. A meaningless effort. One who knows nothing can understand nothing." From this dialogue, we can infer that the hooded man criticizes Sora for his lack of knowledge about doors. We recommended that Sora watch our door usage tutorial video so that he can avoid future embarrassment. Sora leaves the cave, and there's a bunch of black monsters called Heartless attacking the island. After defeating them, the island turns into 3 giant rock hands. One grabs Rikku, another Kairi, and finally, Sora is grasped. The hands launch the 3 children into separate directions at an amazing speed, and each child ends up far from their home. Sora finds himself in a town called Traditional Township. He is alone and ponders the whereabouts of Kairi and Roku. In the distance, he notices a flight of stairs leading to a quaint building with a bright neon sign encompassing the words "Gummy Shop." Hungry, Sora heads up these stairs. At the top waits Final Fantasy VIII character Squid, who is renamed to Legume in this game. Legume reveals that he has been waiting for the gummy shop to open, but the owner seems to be running late. As a result, Legume, who is short of temper, attacks Stropa. But before he can deal his finishing blow, a giant key appears in Sora's hand. Legume considers the chance that this key could open the gummy shop and kindly asks Sora to give it a try. It works fantastically, and the two enter. Inside is the shop owner, Sif. Angered by the owner's appearance, Legume commands Sif to introduce Sora to his Final Fantasy VII friends, Arthas and Yuffle. Arthas and Yuffle reveal that they come from a small publicly owned town called Madagascar. They wound up in Travel Town after retreating from a giant meteor called down by an angel named Spirotos. Skara found this story boring and left the shop. Once outside, Scorpa noticed a duck and a dog fawning over the master key in his hands. They reveal their names to be Dorkle and Guffa, and that they have been sent by the King of the Universe to find a key that could open the Queen's heart, not to be confused with the Queen of Hearts, who will be appearing later. Sora momentarily considers the ethical ramifications of succeeding at such a quest before realizing that these two warriors could help him find Rikkadika and Kairi. He thus agrees to surrender his magic key to the, and we quote, king or whatever, in return for such a service. The trio travels far and wide to kingdoms transcending dimensional limits. First to the kingdom of Wander Hereover, where they must kill the Queen of Hearts as revenge for rightfully imprisoning them. They travel to the universe's jungle, where they help Tarzan fight a man who turns invisible by eating chameleons. They even travel to a coliseum, where Hippodicus fears that his town will be annihilated by a wandering fire hydrant. Indeed, this trio had wild adventures during their quest. They had so much fun that they nearly forgot what their goal even was. They even had to fight a giant coalition of bugs called Cookie Bookie, who had the magical ability to turn into his house. The trio became best of friends during this journey. They even began to ponder if marriage would be a possibility. Unfortunately, upon further research, they found a galactic rule forbidding the delivery of marriage licenses to interdimensional couples. You see, it was still quite early in the universe's history, and interdimensiophobias were quite common, especially in the universe's powerful group of legislators. However, it was only the delivery of these licenses that was illegal. It was perfectly in the trio's power to get the license in person. They thus set out on one final subquest, going to the galactic DMV for a marriage license. But they found the path to this DMV quite arduous and ended up getting eaten by a whale. Meanwhile, a coalition of villains were having a party. It was the party to end all parties. Lights of varying color flew across the stages of dancers in a way sure to give the weakest of hearts a seizure. But some of the villains found themselves regretting the amount of alcohol that they had consumed. A week later, these villains decided to start a support group called Antagonist Anonymous, a terrible name for a group of people who all knew each other. It was at this meeting that they discussed the capturing of a bunch of dolphin princesses, for they need these princesses to open the Kingdom Hearts. The villains all decide to hold a vote for who would lead this operation. Malnutrition was voted in unanimously. It was inevitable, for she was the biggest sweetie in this group of daddies. Back in the whale's stomach, Skrita, Durkle, and Gui finally and somewhat coincidentally found Rikku once again. But Rikku seemed different somehow. Indeed, he had fallen ill to the disease of teenage angst. Upon seeing Scary, Rikku was berated with memories of his island, and in particular, of Sora's girlfriend Kakashi. Though he had never thought much of her before, and though she was probably dead by now, he suddenly realized that he was in love with her. Knowing that he would have no chance at having her if Scoopa was around, he decided to turn their small rivalry into a battle to the death. He was easily defeated, however, as Sora had just visited the Great Depression-era worlds and was quite in shape as a result. Once escaping the whale, the trio finally finds themselves in a land called Hollow Battery, where they run into Emo Rikku once again. But this time, Rikku had visited the Great Depression-era world himself and easily defeated Sora and his friends. Realizing that Drumbaba and Garfield were contractually obligated to follow the person with the Keyblade, Rikku disguised himself as a doorknob and stood in front of Sora, stealing the key. Sora's friends had no choice but to follow Racketeer, and Sora was cast into the sewers. In the sewers, Sora contemplated his life. He decided that, though he was only 13, it was time for him to leave society and live in the sewers for the rest of his life. The sewers were not so bad after all. They were interlaced with several golden gates that you could find only in the finest of prisons. There was, however, a strange beastman creature in the sewers who would constantly scream about roses. Thus, Sora decided to escape the sewers altogether. After getting out, Sora realized that the world he was in consisted of one gigantic castle, and that he would have to climb to the top of it without any help from his friends. But upon opening the first gates, he finds that Digglypuff and Gutenberg had abandoned Rikku, and therefore their contract, in favor of going to save Sora. Sora, a strict bureaucrat, reprimanded them for this contractual break, but was ultimately happy to see them. After much strife, the trio makes it to the top of the castle and are confronted with the dragon form of Malnutrition. They do not have trouble with this fight. However, the next fight is quite different. Behind the door that was guarded by Malnutrition, they find Rikku standing on a tall stage. Behind him lies an unconscious Kairi. Sora had never taken Rikku for the type to do something like this and was instantly infuriated. Sora attacked Rikku, screaming about how Rikku can never have Kairi's heart. This is not technically where the game ends. However, nobody has ever gotten past this point. Thus, it is considered the canonical ending. We have rated this game based on the following metrics: color, general feeling of happiness, scale, difficulty, and indoor curtain coverage. From these metrics, we have derived a score of 4.3. Subscribe to our channel, and we will eventually get to doing Kingdom Hearts 2 and even Kingdom Hearts 3, which we will not play because it is a kids game and we are adults doing adult things.